Have you ever had that feeling like you wish English would just, I don't know, click?
Click.
Yeah, like you could just wake up one day and understand everything in English, those super fast conversations.
Oh, yeah.
And you could just nail the pronunciation like a native speaker.
That would be amazing.
Right. I bet you're thinking about that, especially for planning a trip or you want to watch your favorite TV shows without subtitles
Or even just because you're super into languages.
Totally. So whether you want to improve your listening, learn new words faster, get that clear, confident pronunciation, or just sound more like a native speaker,
we've got you covered.
Absolutely. So what are we diving into today?
Well, today we're getting super practical and focusing on real-life English. And what's more real life than food?
Food. Yes. Everyone eats.
Exactly. And we're going to be listening to conversations about all things food, ordering, restaurants, you name it.
I love it. So we're talking about ordering a latte, figuring out weird foods,
asking about what things are, making reservations, even complaining at a hotel.
Hotel complaints. My favorite. This is going to be good.
And the cool thing is, by listening to these conversations, you'll naturally pick up those everyday phrases and how native speakers actually use them.
Exactly. Plus, you'll get a feel for the rhythm and flow of English, and maybe even try repeating some phrases out loud.
The more you listen and practice, the more confident you'll become.
I love that. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
Okay, imagine you're walking into your favorite cafe, ready for your morning coffee.
Gotta have that caffeine kick.
Right. And you walk up to the counter and the barista asks you that classic question. Is it for here or to go?
Such a simple question, but essential, right?
Absolutely. And our coffee lover here says, "Hi, can I get a latte, please?"
Straight to the point. And polite, too, with that, "Can I?"
Exactly. Then the barista double checks, just to be sure. Sure thing. Is that for here or to go?
Just confirming those details.
And our customer says, "Oh, I think I'll have it here." Notice that little,
Yeah, that's so natural. People don't always have their answers ready immediately.
That makes it sound more real.
Definitely.
Okay, so then the barista says, "Okay, great. Would you like it in a mug or a to-go cup?"
Offering those options.
And the customer goes for the classic, "Mug, please."
Nice and simple.
Then you hear that reassuring, "Coming right up," from the barista.
They always say that.
Oh, yeah. And then comes the, "Would you like anything else?"
That's your cue to add a pastry or something.
Tempting, but our customer says, "No, that's it for now, thanks."
Okay, good self-control.
Right. So next up, it's time to pay. The barista says, $4.50. Would you like to pay with cash or card?
The eternal question.
Right. "I'll pay with card, please."
Standard response these days.
So true. And the barista says, "Please, sure thing. Just insert your card into the reader here."
Easy peasy.
And as you're paying, they say, "Great. Just one more moment. Your latte will be ready shortly. Thanks so much."
Gotta love those little reassurances.
Right. So now the latte's ready. Here's your latte. Enjoy. Simple and sweet.
Thank you.
But the conversation doesn't end there. The customer takes a sip and says, "Wow, this is really good. I love the foam on top."
A little compliment never hurts.
And the barista seems genuinely happy about it. They say, "I'm glad you like it. Our lattes are one of our most popular drinks. I can see why. It's the perfect pick-me-up on a chilly day like today."
Adding a little personal touch,
Yeah.
mentioning the weather. Nice.
It is. And they finish with, "Absolutely. We always love to hear that our customers are happy with their drinks. Don't hesitate to let us know if you need anything else."
So friendly.
I will. Thanks again.
What a nice little exchange.
Okay, let's switch gears completely. Now think about this question. What's the weirdest food you've ever eaten?
Oh, I love this question. It always leads to interesting stories.
Right, and we hear Sarah talk about her experience trying fried crickets. She had them in Thailand.
Fried crickets. That's definitely up there on the weirdness scale for a lot of people.
It is, but Sarah makes a good point. She says, once you get past the idea of eating insects, they're actually pretty good.
So it's all about getting over that initial hurdle.
Exactly. And she describes them as crunchy with a nutty flavor.
Not bad, actually.
Right. And she also explains that in Thailand, insects are considered a delicacy, so it's part of the culture there.
That's a good reminder that what's weird is relative.
Totally. Okay, David also chimes in with his weird food experience. Fermented tofu.
Fermented tofu. Oh, I know that smell.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. David describes it as having a strong, pungent aroma.
Pungent is putting it mildly.
Haha, right. But he also says that it has an acquired taste, meaning you might not love it at first, but it can grow on you.
Like blue cheese.
Exactly. It's interesting that Sarah's experience was more about the visual aspect of the crickets, while David focuses on the smell and taste of the tofu.
Different foods, different senses.
Totally.
Yeah.
But both Sarah and David talk about how trying new foods, even weird ones, is about stepping outside of your comfort zone and broadening your culinary horizons.
Love that phrase. It's so much more than just eating. It's about experiencing new cultures and flavors.
I agree. And it usually makes for a good story, too. Okay, moving on. We're going to hear a very common social exchange. Inviting someone to hang out, coffee or tea.
Classic.
Right. But Anna throws a curveball and says, I don't like either of them.
What? No coffee, no tea?
Nope. She prefers smoothies or juice.
That's interesting. I wonder why she doesn't like coffee.
Well, the other person seems surprised too. They say, really? But coffee is so good, especially in the morning, to wake you up.
That's the common perception, right? Coffee equals energy.
Yeah, but Anna actually says that coffee makes her sleepy.
Wow, that's the opposite of what most people experience.
She's tried it many times and always feels the same way. And it's not just coffee. She can't drink tea either because it keeps her awake at night.
That's so interesting how different people react to caffeine.
I know. She even tells a story about how just one sip of tea kept her up all night.
Wow, she's really sensitive to it.
Right. So she sticks to her smoothies and juice. She even says that drinking a lot of juice helps to beautify the skin.
I've heard that too.
So, you see, everyone has their own preferences and beliefs about food and drinks.
Absolutely.
Okay, next up, let's head to the grocery store. You see a fruit you've never seen before, and you ask, "Excuse me, what's the name of that fruit over there? The one that looks like a small orange."
A very polite and natural way to ask.
Right. And the person working there says, "Oh, that's a kumquat. Have you ever tried one before?"
They're not only identifying the fruit, but also checking if the person knows it.
It's a friendly way to start a conversation, and the customer says, "No, I haven't. Are they sweet like oranges?"
Trying to understand the unknown by comparing it to the known.
Makes sense. And the worker gives them a really good description. They say, "Actually, kumquats are a bit different. They're a little tart on the inside, but the skin is sweet. You can eat them whole, skin and all."
That's interesting. I didn't know you could eat the skin too.
Me neither. So the customer, intrigued, asks, "Interesting, can I try one?"
Who wouldn't want to try after that description?
Right. And the worker says, "Of course. Here you go. Let me know what you think." So generous.
I know. And after trying it, the customer says, "Oh, that's really good. It's definitely tart, but I like the contrast with the sweet skin."
They confirm the description, and they seem to really like it.
And the worker adds, "I'm glad you like it. Kumquats are actually really healthy too. They're high in vitamin C and fiber."
Bonus points for being healthy.
So the customer, convinced, asks, "That's good to know. How much do they cost?"
Time for the practical details.
And the worker replies, $2.50 a pound. Would you like me to bag some up for you?
Going the extra mile for the customer.
Sure, I'll take a pound. And can I also get a couple of those apples and some grapes, please?
Now they're adding more to their basket.
The worker happily replies, "Absolutely. Anything else?"
Just being helpful.
And the customer said, "No, that's all. Thanks for letting me try the kumquat. I'll definitely be back for more."
Oh, that's nice. A happy customer.
And the worker ends with a polite, "You're welcome. Have a great day."
What a lovely interaction. It really shows how a simple conversation can turn into a positive experience. Now let's switch gears again and talk about cooking at home. What is your favorite dish to prepare?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think my go-to is a classic beef stir-fry.
Stir fry. I love a good stir fry.
Me too. It's so flavorful, and you can get really creative with the ingredients. I just love the combination of textures and flavors.
What are your favorite ingredients to use?
Let me see. For veggies, I usually go for colorful bell peppers, crunchy broccoli, and some tender snow peas.
Sounds delicious already.
Right. And then for the sauce, I like to keep it simple with soy sauce, garlic, and ginger. Gives it such a savory and aromatic taste.
And what about the beef? Any tips for cooking it perfectly?
Absolutely. The key is to slice the beef thinly and marinate it to enhance its tenderness and flavor. And then cook it quickly over high heat to keep it nice and juicy.
Those are great tips.
And to round out the meal, I usually serve it with some steamed jasmine rice or noodles.
Perfect. A complete and balanced meal.
Exactly. You should come over sometime and I'll cook it for you.
Oh, I'd love that. I'm always happy to be a taste tester.
Perfect. It's a date. Okay, so now let's move on to a different setting. A restaurant. What happens when you need to make a reservation?
Ah, reservations. Sometimes they're a must.
Definitely, especially at popular places.
Hmm.
In this conversation, we hear a customer calling to make a reservation. They start with, "Hi, I would like to make a reservation for dinner."
Pretty standard.
And then when asked how many people, they say, "Well, that will just be me and my hunger."
Haha, I love that. We've all been there.
So true. So the restaurant staff confirms it's a table for one and then asks about the preferred time.
And what time does our hungry customer want to eat?
They request 7 p.m., but unfortunately the restaurant is fully booked, meaning there are no tables available at that time.
Oh, no. That's always disappointing.
It is. But the staff handles it really well. They offer an alternative. Would you mind coming a bit later, like 8 p.m.?
And what does our customer say?
They're a little hesitant but agree, saying, "I guess I have no choice." Fine, 8 p.m. it is.
Makes sense. Food is worth the wait. So the reservation is set for you and your hunger at 8 p.m. What happens next?
Well, our customer has a special request. They say, "Yes, can I sit by the window? I need good lighting for my food selfies."
Haha, that's so relatable. Everyone wants that perfect food photo.
Right. And the restaurant staff plays along, responding with, "Of course, we'll make sure your food shines as bright as you do."
I love that. So accommodating and funny.
Definitely. Then the customer, keeping things lighthearted, asks, "Perfect. Should I dress fancy or can I rock my pajamas?"
Okay, that's a bold question.
It is. And the restaurant staff gently suggests, "We're all about style, but maybe save the pajamas for Netflix."
A subtle way of hinting at a dress code.
Exactly. And the customer appreciates it, saying, "Wise words. That will be well noted."
So the conversation ends with, well, thank you. See you at 8. You're welcome, sir. Looking forward to it.
Another smooth and friendly interaction.
Sometimes, though, you don't have a reservation and you just decide to walk into a restaurant.
A risky move.
But it can work out sometimes. In this next conversation, we hear a group of people walking into a restaurant without a reservation. The host greets them with, "Good evening, welcome to Gourmet Delights. Do you have a reservation?" And they reply, "Hi, no, we're just Weastins. Is that okay?"
Weekends. That like walk-ins?
Exactly. It's a casual way of saying they don't have a reservation. And the host's response is great. They say, "Weans, you're living dangerously. I like it."
They seem pretty chill about it.
They are. And luckily for our brave Wiccans, the host says, "Let me see. You're in luck. I can get you a table right away."
Wow, they got lucky.
They did. And they even get a table by the window, which is a bonus. They joke about watching people's heads while we eat and how people watching is a part of fine dining.
That's a fun way to look at it.
And the host jokingly warns them about spilling wine on the menus.
Oh no, is that a common occurrence?
Who knows? But they keep the mood light by saying the menus have had enough wine for today and are a bit tipsy already.
They really know how to make guests feel comfortable.
Absolutely.
You know, sometimes you're at a restaurant and you just can't decide what to order.
The menu paralysis. I get that.
Me too. And in our next conversation, we hear a customer who's struggling with just that. The server comes up and asks, "Hi there, I'll be your server tonight. Can I start you off with some drinks?" And the customer says, "Actually, I'm clueless. What do you recommend for someone who's bad at making decisions?"
They're just being honest.
And the server, being a pro, suggests, "Well, our pasta dish is always a favorite. It's delicious, and you can't go wrong with carbs."
Pasta's always a good choice.
It is. But the customer has a little worry. They say, "That sounds great, but what if I regret it halfway through?"
That's a valid concern. What if you order something and then wish you'd gotten something else?
Right. But the server has a clever and reassuring response. They say, "You won't, but if you do, we'll just bring more bread."
Haha, I love that. It's like they're saying, no matter what, you'll leave happy.
Exactly. So the customer, reassured, says, "Sold. Pasta it is." But then they immediately start thinking about dessert. "But wait, what about dessert? What do you recommend for that?"
They're thinking ahead.
Always good to have a dessert plan. And the server doesn't disappoint. They say, "Oh, we have an amazing chocolate cake. It's like a hug, but from inside your stomach."
What a description.
It is. And it clearly works because the customer says, "That's exactly what I need after this long day. You're a lifesaver."
Chocolate cake can definitely be a lifesaver.
It really can. The server then says, "Just doing my part to keep the world happy, one slice of cake at a time."
That's so sweet.
Okay, have you ever been to a restaurant, ordered something, and then completely changed your mind?
Oh, all the time.
Me too. It's like the minute I place the order, I see something else. I want more.
Exactly, and that's exactly what happens in this next conversation. The server is confirming the order. So, 1 garden salad, 1 grilled salmon, and a bottle of sparkling water is everything correct.
Yeah.
At first, the customer says, yes, everything is correct. But then a second later, they're like, oh, hold on.
Classic. Here comes the change.
And they're very polite about it. They say, excuse me, what's the matter, ma'am? Well, I'm so sorry, but can I change my order?
That's important, to be polite when changing your mind.
Definitely. And the server is super nice about it.
Oh.
Sure, what would you like to change?
Good server.
So first they say, I want some fries instead of that garden salad.
Okay, understandable.
Then, and a Coke instead of sparkling water.
Swapping out the healthy choices, I see.
Haha, exactly. But wait, there's more. The customer then says, all right, in fact, can I switch to the burger? I'm suddenly craving something less green.
3 changes, that's a lot.
I know. But the server is still super patient. They even joke, of course you can, a burger is a salad's cooler, tastier cousin.
Haha, that's a good one.
And they reassure the customer, saying, yeah, you're right. I'll make sure your burger comes out as quickly as your stomach changes its mind. Thank you so much.
What a pro. They handled that perfectly. Okay, so now let's imagine you've just finished an amazing meal at a restaurant, and you're feeling so satisfied you want to tell the chef yourself.
That's when you compliment the chef.
Right. In this conversation, the server asks the classic question, how is everything tonight? I see you've left nothing but crumbs.
Always a good sign. And the customers are clearly very happy. They say, honestly, I think I just fell in love with your chef.
Haha, wow. They're really impressed.
Then one of them jokes, I'll let him know he has mail. Seriously, that steak was so good, I almost wrote it a love letter.
That's high praise.
It is.
Yeah.
They're so happy they even asked to meet the chef. Do you take requests? Can I meet the chef? We want to personally thank the magician behind the magic.
Magician behind the magic. I like that.
Me too. But the server jokingly warns them, I can arrange that, but fair warning, if you shower him with too many compliments, he might make you eat the whole menu.
Uh-huh. That would be a lot of food.
I know, right? But the customers are up for the challenge. They say, actually, I don't mind that at all, but we'd need quite a lot of digestive pills for that.
They're definitely enthusiastic.
They are. So the server says, you're too kind. I'll tell him to prepare for his standing ovation and give him our deepest compliments. This meal was unforgettable.
What a great way to end a meal. Okay, now let's switch gears from restaurants to hotels. Have you ever had to book a hotel room in English?
It can be a little nerve-wracking if you're not used to it, but it's not as hard as it seems.
Absolutely. Let's listen to a conversation about booking a room. It starts with the classic, hello, thank you for calling Seaside Hotel. How can I help you?
Very professional.
And the customer gets right to the point. Hi, I would like to book a room for the weekend. Do you have anything available?
Direct and simple.
And the hotel staff checks and confirms. Yes, we do have a few rooms left. May I know your name, sir?
And our customer says,
I'm Ian Brown.
okay, so now they have his name. What kind of room does he want?
The hotel staff asks, so, Mr. Brown, do you prefer a single or a double room?
And his response is,
He goes for double, but his reason's pretty funny. He says, I'll go with a double, in case I roll around too much at night.
aha, we've all been there.
The hotel staff just laughs and says, all right, a double it is.
I love how casual and friendly this interaction is. Okay, so they've sorted out the room type. What about the length of stay?
The hotel staff asks, how many nights would you like to stay at our hotel? And Mr. Brown says, just 2, Friday and Saturday.
Okay, so a weekend getaway. Does he have any special requests?
Actually, yes. He says, actually, can I get extra pillows? Like 5 of them? I mean, I just really love pillows.
5 pillows? That's a lot of pillows.
It is. But the hotel staff is totally cool about it. They say, I'll make a note. Your pillow kingdom will be ready.
I love that. Pillow kingdom.
Right. And Mr. Brown is happy too. Perfect.
So now, the important question. When does he pay?
He asks, do I need to pay now? And the hotel staff explains, no, you can pay when you check in. We'll have your room ready when you arrive.
That's good to know.
Mr. Brown ends with, awesome, I can't wait to dive into those pillows. You're all set. See you on Friday.
I can practically hear him smiling through the phone. Okay, fast forward to the weekend, and it's time to check in.
Our next conversation takes place at the reception desk of a fancy hotel. The receptionist greets the guests with, good afternoon. Welcome to the Grand Hotel. Do you have a reservation?
And our guest says,
Yes, I do. It's under Mia Thompson.
Okay, so the receptionist checks their system and asks, let me check. Ah, here you are, Mrs. Thompson. Are you staying for 2 nights?
And Mia confirms, adding, yep, just so you know, I'm here for a do-nothing weekend.
A do-nothing weekend. I like the sound of that.
Me too. The receptionist seems to approve too, saying, "That sounds like a solid plan. Here's your room key, room 305, it's on the 3rd floor."
And what does Mia ask next?
She's got a very practical question.
Yeah.
Is there an elevator, or do I need to start my do-nothing weekend by taking the stairs?
I'd want to know that too.
Right. And luckily for her, the receptionist confirms, "Yes, Mrs. Thompson, we have an elevator, so no need for a stair workout."
That's a relief.
Mia jokes, "Oh, that's such a relief. I didn't bring my workout clothes anyway, just the do-nothing clothes."
Uh-huh. I love that. It sounds like she's really committed to this relaxing weekend.
She is. The receptionist plays along, saying, "Right, exactly. Thanks for your understanding. Enjoy your stay, and if you need help doing nothing, just let us know."
That's so funny.
And Mia appreciates the offer. "Certainly, I'll keep that in mind." Then she realizes she needs directions. "Oh, right, how did I miss that? I think my brain's already doing nothing." The receptionist concludes with a chuckle. "Sounds like you're on the right track for a complete rest."
What a perfect start to a relaxing weekend. Now let's imagine you're in your cozy hotel room and you're feeling a little peckish. What do?
Room service, of course.
In this next conversation, we hear a guest ordering room service. They start by saying, "Hello, I'd like to order room service, please."
Simple and to the point.
And the hotel staff replies, "Sure, what can I get for you today?"
So helpful.
Our guest, though, is feeling a little fancy. They say, "I'm feeling fancy. Do you have anything 5 stars? Some Michelin choices?"
Ooh, they want the good stuff.
They do. And the hotel staff jokingly suggests, "Well, we have a sandwich with 5 slices of bread. Does that count?"
I wonder if that's actually on the menu.
Right. The guest sees the humor in it, but then asks, "Ha, that's creative. Do you have a steak?"
A classic hotel room service order.
Absolutely. The hotel confirms, "Yes, we do. Medium rare or very well done, as in crispy."
Giving those options.
And the guest goes for medium, please, and maybe some fries.
Can't go wrong with fries.
The hotel staff agrees, saying, "Absolutely. A steak without some crispy fries is like day without night."
A perfect pairing.
Now it's time for dessert. The hotel staff says, "Exactly. And for dessert, we have chocolate cake, or if you're feeling adventurous, a mystery dessert."
A mystery dessert. That's intriguing.
Right. The guest asks, "Mystery dessert." And the hotel staff explains, "Yep, it could be chocolate cake or something we found in the fridge."
Oh, no. That doesn't sound very appetizing.
I know. So the guest wisely chooses the chocolate cake. "I'll just take the cake, thanks." Good choice. We'll send everything up shortly.
Safe bet.
And the guest ends with, "Please, no surprises of the fridge." Okay, only good ones, promise.
Uh-huh. Good clarification.
You never know what might be lurking in a hotel fridge.
Sometimes you need a little extra help from housekeeping when you're staying at a hotel.
Oh, absolutely. Extra towels, pillows, you name it.
In this next conversation, we hear a guest calling housekeeping with some requests. The housekeeping staff answers with, "Oh, hello. Hi, miss. Good morning, ma'am. How may I help you?"
Very polite. And what does the guest need?
Extra towels. They say, "Can I request some extra towels, please?"
Seems reasonable enough.
The housekeeping staff then asks, "Of course. How many would you like?"
And the guest's answer is?
10.
10 towels? That's a lot of towels.
I know, right? The housekeeping staff is a little surprised, too. They ask, 10 towels. Are you planning a pool party in your room?"
Uh-huh. That's a good one.
It is. And the guest explains, "No, just, well, you never know. I have 2 teenage daughters with me. Better safe than sorry, right?"
Teenage daughters. That explains it.
The housekeeping staff understands completely and says, "I'll send 10 towels your way. Anything else?"
And of course, there's more.
There is. The guest asks, "Actually, do you happen to have some extra pillows?" "Sure. How many pillows?"
I'm guessing more than 2.
You guessed it. But the guest reassures him, "Don't tell me 10. No, just 2, please. I don't need to build a pillow fort."
Haha, a pillow fort. Who doesn't love a pillow fort?
Right. And finally, the guest asks about shampoo. "Is there anything else you need? Snacks? A pet elephant?" An elephant might be too big for the room, but maybe some extra shampoo.
An elephant.
Why not? The housekeeping staff plays along, saying, "Shampoo, got it. I'll send the towels, pillows, and shampoo up right away."